Ollie, thank you. That was genuinely really nice and a bit of a surprise. I had a tear in my eye. Someone obviously wrote that for you. Oh, so we've finally made it to our wedding day. "17 years after we first met, it's been 16 months later than we'd originally planned, almost 4 years since we got engaged, and it's been 5 years since Lauren had the guest list sorted." I've said it all day, but it genuinely feels a bit surreal finally standing here. Obviously, it's a lot later than planned, and it felt like the day just was never going to come. But we have matured so much as a couple and as individuals in the last 2 years that it honestly feels perfect. So we appreciate all the effort you've all made to get here. We know it's a long way to come, and a lot of you have travelled very far, some further than others. Pete and Amanda travelling all the way from Canada to be here, so thank you. Obviously, it was never in doubt because there's nothing that will get in the way of Pete and a free meal. So we're so full of love for every single one of you. Again, thank you for being here, for joining us in our special day. So on behalf of my wife and I, thank you all. So we're going to toast throughout, but everyone can stay seated. Before I get going with our thank yous, we have loved ones who can't be here with us today. We have grandparents and family who have sadly passed away. And on Tuesday this week, it was the funeral for Mary Doherty, who is Lauren's great auntie, Nancy's sister, Marie's mum, and Finn's nan. So we're also thinking of you today too. So I'd like you all to raise your glass and join me in a toast to absent friends and family. And for those who don't know, Lauren's auntie Emily passed away suddenly a couple of years ago, and she was so excited for today. Every time I've written this part of my speech, I've had her in my ear saying that an inclusive toast to everyone isn't enough, and that I should be singling her out. So everyone that knows Emily will know exactly what I mean, so I'd like you to raise your glasses again and raise your glass to Emily. Emily. Oh, that's the first part. So I've got a lot of thank yous to get through. Ollie made it clear that when I thank the parents, there's a lot to get through, so I'll start with them. I'd like to first start by thanking my parents. Thank you for everything you've done for me, for teaching me so much when I had no interest in learning. You've both created and raised an absolute legend. And I'm sorry about Kieran Meethan. 1 out of 3 isn't bad. I've got the mic. Dad, I've seen your grit, desire and hard work from a young age, and you've always been a real inspiration to me. The three of us have never gone without, and I'm proud of the relationship we have. You've always had an interest in my interests, and Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays, without fail, you would always take me to football. And as all the parents stopped, we got a bit older, parents stopped coming, you were always there. You're more committed to me than St. Vincent's, and I know that must have been tough. Mum, as loyal as they come. You've always had my back in absolutely everything, and as a kid you would do anything for me. My mum was always having to come up to the school because of me, and it was never to collect any awards. You would argue with head teachers for suspending me before I'd even told you what I'd done. And I'd run out of school and come home, and you were back up to school asking them what sort of environment makes a kid want to leave in the first place. I've put you through a fair amount of stress, and I want to thank you for persevering with me and for not following through on your constant threat to let child services take you away. So thank you both for supporting us and our relationship from day one. You've always made Lauren feel welcome, and you've treated her as your own. You know you're part of our family when at Christmas you get a sack full of presents that you didn't know you needed and you never knew existed. But Mum, your generosity and thoughtfulness for us, and now Lowell too, is unmatched, and I love you for it. I love you both. It's also my mum's birthday today. So if everyone can just join me in wishing my mum a happy birthday. Ollie, thanks for making the journey. We thought an hour and 45 minutes was borderline too far for Ollie. Lauren gave him all of the details in an afternoon round his house, and he genuinely had us worried for a minute. After a bit of research later that evening, and as the avid plane spotter that he is, he actually realised that we're under the Brides Norton flight path, so knowing he could watch some planes come in, he'd booked his hotel by the morning. Unfortunately though, unlike Lauren, Matt and Amber's holidays as kids, he couldn't get a runway view. You've been a huge support to Lauren and have always been there for her, providing calm, reassuring and measured guidance on everything she's needed. You're always a rational and practical mind she can lean on, and I know she values your opinions greatly. As you'd expect, Lauren gets a lot of her traits from you. Her practicality, organisational skills, wonky nose and back problems. And Lauren also told me that she gets her sense of humour from you. So make of that as you wish. You've made me feel really welcome, and I appreciate it. What I don't appreciate is the beer in your house. Without fail, Ollie will always offer me a beer. It's just a travesty that they're kept in the cupboard, warm, and 5 years out of date. It's nice to see you enjoying life after retirement too, and I know that Anne is playing a major part in that. So both of us would like to let you know that we both think you're wonderful. Tim? Tim tells me he wasn't too sure on us as a couple when we first met. Literally every time he's had a beer. We couldn't ask for a better relationship now though, and I'm so grateful for everything you've done for the two of us, and obviously everything you've done for Lauren since she was a kid. She's very lucky to have you. So you've converted the garage into a bedroom for us when we were between homes. You've always been on hand for everything that needs doing, and you've taught us that no matter how great Bob Marley is, being woken up to Three Little Birds at 7 a.m. is never going to be a nice welcome to the weekend. And to Anne, thank you for all of your help with today. The build up to today, the hen, and for everything you've done for Lauren since she was a child, and obviously everything you've done for me since we've been together as well. You're the perfect mother to Lauren, and I've always thought you both have had the most incredible relationship. Lauren gets her character, strength and thoughtfulness from you amongst other traits, and you should be proud of the woman you've raised. You're two peas in a pod, and a lot of people would be envious of the relationship and the similarities you both have. Similarities like the ability to nest into the sofa and not move for 18 hours. The way you both manage to keep your wine glass full without ever touching the bottle. And no matter how hot a room will be, you'll both always feel cold. Thank you for welcoming me into the family in the way that you have. You've made me feel so comfortable from day one, and I've always felt as though I could be myself around you and the rest of the family. So please can you all raise a glass and join me in a toast to the parents. To the bridesmaids, Danny, Becca, Helen, Becky, Estella and Amber, you all genuinely look incredible. Danny, the hen do looked and sounded so good, and Lauren came back with the biggest smile on her face. In every photo she's gleaming, and she texted me during it saying her weekend was the best ever. I can't imagine how stressful it must have been to organise a hen do for the queen of organisation herself who hates surprises. But you did a fantastic job. And all the rumours are true. They really did manage to secure a live band and a surprise guest appearance from Gizzo herself. Please join me in toasting to this incredible bunch, to the bridesmaids. And to my groomsmen, Sam, Doggett, Pete, Kieran, Matt and Ethan, I love you all. Sam, thanks for organising a great stag. Who'd have thought the world's most miserable man could order such a fun weekend? But you did a good job, mate. I loved every minute of it, and I'm not surprised with the group of friends we have. No matter how close I think we are, we always manage to get closer.
Elaborate.
That's it. For those that haven't been to Edinburgh, it's a beautiful city. They have the most amazing buildings, great whiskies and great people with some very strong accents. Although the only person hard to understand was Kieran on Saturday night. They have a zoo. Although I wouldn't recommend it. We had a very unusual encounter with a very over-familiar baboon. Please join me in raising a glass to the groomsmen. Cheers. And finally to Lauren. I can't tell you how much hard work and effort that Laura's put into everything, not only for today, but for the whole weekend. She's been absolutely incredible. You've organised the most amazing wedding, and the weekend included, and I love you. You really are the most beautiful person I know, inside and out, and I feel so privileged to have married you today. I'm sure everyone will agree when I say you look absolutely incredible. So we met at school in 2005. I was a loose cannon. Undiagnosed ADHD. On my journey to championship football. Lauren was smart, funny, incredibly social, and without a doubt the tallest girl I think I'd ever seen. Everyone loves Lauren as soon as they meet her, and I was no different. When I first saw Lauren, it was the first week of year 9. I had no idea how, but I was actually in class before she was. Lauren and a friend walked in, and she instantly caught my attention. So I turned to a friend, and I said, "You chat to the brunette, the tall blonde one is mine." It's not romantic or cute, but I was 12. I don't know what you saw in me other than a spotty little chav. But my chat obviously worked because you've been hooked ever since. Although your fashion has been questionable at times too. Like when you wore a cropped pink coat with your school blazer hanging out the bottom. And the time you went to the hairdressers as a teenager and you came out looking like Shirley from EastEnders. Through it all, you've always had my attention, and we became official 4 years later in 2009, and I've lived my best life since. We've grown up together, moved out at 21, been on the most amazing holidays, been welcomed into each other's families. We've moved house 4 times, worked and lived side by side for over 2 years, and we have the best setup at home with little Rooney and Barney. We've been on one hell of a journey together, and I love that we've shared it all together. I also love how selfish you are. Selfless. I love that your friends and family know they can count on you whenever they need you. I love how compassionate and considerate you are to complete strangers, and I love how silly you can be and how fun you are to be around. And I love you for supporting me with my ambitions, and I love you for chasing your own too. Where am I? Everyone knows you've had the biggest influence on who I've become. And I honestly don't know where I'd be without you. And I'm sure nobody else does either. You calmed me down and gave me purpose when I needed it the most. You gave me a reason to think about my actions. You've always challenged me where necessary. God, I'm going. And you've given me encouragement when I've needed it. You've brought out the best in me, and I know you'll continue to do so. I'm proud of the woman you've become and everything you've achieved. I've been so impressed with the amount you've taken on and been responsible for, both personally and at work, and in particular over the last 6 months where life has been absolutely crazy, but you really have smashed it. Today's special because I've not just married my best friend and my soulmate, but my childhood sweetheart. Their life just wouldn't have been the same without. So can everyone now please stand? And raise your glass to my final toast, Mrs. Lauren Murray.